From JBS Studios in Greater New York, this is the JBS News Update with Teisha Bader.
I'm Teisha Bader with the JBS News Update for Tuesday, August the 29th, 2017. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres met last night in Ramallah with Palestinian Authority Prime Minister Rami Hamdallah, where he said that a two-state solution was the only solution to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. The UN chief said after the sit-down with Hamdallah, "I want to express very strongly not only the total commitment of the United Nations, but my personal total commitment to do everything for a two-state solution to materialize," adding, "I have said several times there is no plan B to a two-state solution." As we reported to you, Guterres met earlier yesterday with Israeli leaders where he called Israeli settlements an obstacle to peace, but also said that the Palestinians must condemn terrorism. Guterres said it is important to create conditions for leaders of all sides to appeal for calm, to avoid forms of incitement for violence to settle down. Guterres also reiterated his strong stance against anti-Semitism and met yesterday with representatives of the World Jewish Congress and the Israel Council on Foreign Relations. WJC CEO Robert Singer thanked the Secretary General for being a determined ally in the fight against anti-Semitism. He said, on behalf of WJC President Ronald S. Lauder, "I would like to stress that your principled public stance against anti-Semitism is admired by Jews around the world." And newly elected French President Emmanuel Macron said today that he will visit Israel next year to also help kickstart peace talks between Israel and the Palestinians. Macron said he plans on traveling in the spring to Lebanon, Jordan, and the Palestinian Authority, in addition to Israel. He also said he wants to put together an international summit in Paris at the beginning of 2018 against the financing of international terrorism. Two Jewish members of Israel's Knesset visited the Temple Mount in Jerusalem today, marking the first time lawmakers have been allowed to ascend the holy site since October of 2015. Yehuda Glick of the Likud Party and Shuli Mualem-Rafaeli of the Jewish Home Party visited the site this morning in what was said to be a trial run to see if such visits can be reinstated. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu had instructed MKs to stay away from the site back in November of 2015 amid a wave of Palestinian terrorism in an effort to calm the situation. Glick had filed a petition against that order, and at the beginning of last month, Netanyahu said he would allow for a trial visit. But the murders of two Israeli police officers on July the 14th, just outside the Temple Mount, suspended that decision until today. The Times of Israel reports that Israel's ambassador to Egypt is returning to his post. David Guvrin and the staff of the embassy in Cairo had left Egypt 8 months ago because of unspecified security threats. The report today cites Cairo airport officials who said that Guvrin flew back to the city with 8 staff members returning to work from the envoy's home, not from the embassy, which has been closed since it was stormed by protesters in 2011. The Israeli Foreign Ministry did not comment on the report today. And Israel's ambassador to Germany, Jeremy Issacharow, presented his credentials today to German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier. Issacharow also took part in a ceremony today at the historic Track 17 of the Grunwald train station in Berlin, from which tens of thousands of Jews were sent to the death camps between 1941 and 1945. Issacharow is a foreign ministry veteran with over 3 decades in its service, most recently as the ministry's deputy director general. Turning to some sports news now, Israeli tennis player Dudi Sela advanced to the second round at the U.S. Open, beating American player Christopher Eubanks yesterday. This is the Israeli pro's 10th trip to the tennis competition. He is Israel's top men's single player. Tomorrow, Sela faces American Sam Querrey in the second round. And Israeli Tal Flicker won the bronze medal in the under 66-kilogram category at the World Judo Championships today in Budapest, Hungary. And today marks a critical event in the history of the Jewish people. On August the 29th of 1897, Theodor Herzl convened the first Zionist Congress in Basel, Switzerland. Some 200 people from 17 countries gathered in the city for what is thought of as a landmark in the effort to create a Jewish state. Just ahead of the 120th anniversary of the gathering, 120 men and women named for Herzl came together in the Israeli city of Herzliya, which was also named for the Zionist leader, to celebrate his contribution to the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948. At the end of the inaugural Zionist Congress, Herzl had written in his diary, "At Basel, I founded the Jewish state. If I said this out loud today, I would be greeted by universal laughter. In 5 years, perhaps, and certainly in 50 years, everyone will perceive it." And taking a look now at our programming for tonight on JBS for Tuesday, August the 29th, we have programming from the 2016 Saban Forum, including at 7 remarks from then outgoing U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry, followed at 8 by a conversation with Israel's Minister of Defense Avigdor Lieberman, who speaks to CNN's Jake Tapper about Israeli security. At 9 tonight, Mark Golub sits down with Israeli journalist Ari Shavit on L'chaim, and at 10, Israel's ambassador to the UN, Danny Danon, speaks at Columbia University. And coming up right after this newscast, an evening celebrating Israel's most elite counterterrorism force in the IDF, the Duvdevan Unit. And that's the JBS News Update for Tuesday, August the 29th, 2017. I'm Teisha Bader.